But as it turns out, the first person to get a sub 16 wouldn't be Shigeru. It wouldn't be Taka either. In fact, it
Akira?
wasn't anyone who had set a 16-star record before.
Was it Akira?
In August 2011,
I think it was Akira.
someone else broke through with a 1554. And his name was Matt Turk.
What? Who the fuck is Matt Turk? Some random white American kid?
Nah, I'm just kidding. It was Akira.
Oh, that is so funny. Oh, no way. He totally G-baited me, bro. Hello, YouTube. Welcome. We have great things for you today. I am extremely excited because the god himself, the god of content creation in the speedrunning community, Summoning Salt, has come out with a new beautiful video about Mario 64 once again. But instead of 120-star world record history, he's going to be doing 16-star. Now, this is really exciting for me because I honestly don't even know much about 16-star world record history. So I'm actually going to learn a lot from this. So without further ado, let's dive in to the magnificent brain of Summoning Salt himself. React harder. Holy shit, BLJ! Oh my god! First try!
Super Mario 64 16-star. It's the most popular category in the most popular speed game of all time.
It's true.
Holding a
25,000 runs. Wow.
record in it is one of gaming's toughest accomplishments. Ridiculous glitches and insane movement, both requirements for a world record. Just a lucky few have been able to call themselves a record holder, and with the incredible level of competition, it's hard to hold on to it for long. But let's take a look at those gamers and see how they did it. This is the history of the 16-star world record.
Poggers. It is the most popular category, easily, because it's the easiest category to learn because it's fast and you could learn 16-star in a few hours and do runs of it, you know. And this game is so popular and easy to get into that it's easily the most popular one.
Super Mario 64 has 120 stars you can collect. There are speedrun categories that involve collecting all of them. However, the developers only required you to collect 70 of them to beat the game. That's how many you needed to make it up the endless staircase and into the final stage. But years after the game's release, that number suddenly dropped to 50. Eventually, it was lowered again, this time to 31. And in 2004, the number fell to just 16.
2004.
Super Mario 64 could now be completed in under half an hour. And in the summer of 2004, the first 16-star speedruns of Mario 64 were performed. There were a handful of records set over the course of a few months, from players like Cyberwrath and Christina Korsak. But the dust settled a bit when a runner named Illudude set a big record. In November 2004, he beat the game with 16 stars in 21 minutes and 56 seconds.
Wow. That long ago with a 22-minute time is actually insane when you think about it. That's pretty crazy.
The first goal in a 16-star speedrun is to collect 8 stars, which unlocks the first Bowser level. He got the first star by going into Bob-omb Battlefield and ground pounding the Chain Chomp's pole 3 times, unlocking the star. One of the fastest ways to move in Super Mario 64 is the long jump, so Illudude chained these together over and over whenever he could.
That's like the old school strats, just doing a bunch of long jumps.
Next, he went into Whomp's Fortress to collect 5 more stars. He got the first 2 by going to the top of the stage, defeating Whomp, and then climbing to the top of the fortress. He then quickly got the star on the ledge by side flipping to it, then opened the cannon, used it to blast away the wall, and shot himself into the star to collect it. Finally, he got picked up by the owl to fall into the cage and collect another.
It's funny because the slowest strat out of all of these by far was the cannonless one. All the other strats, like Wild Blue, even getting the owl is only like 5 seconds slower. You could do easy strats in this game and still get a good time. Like, this just proves it, you know? It's just consistency because this game is so fast.
star. That put his total at 6 stars. The remaining 2 came from sliding down Peach's slide to collect both stars, despite a bit of slow movement along the way.
He didn't even do the fast
Illudude was then able to enter Bowser in the Dark World.
Ra wasn't
It
even
took
good,
2
too.
throws to hit Bowser with a bomb, but eventually he got the job done.
It's so cute
Illudude's
watching
next
this. I
goal
feel like
was to
it's
collect
like, aw.
7 more stars.
It just looks
to
like a
allow
new
Mips
player
the
casually
rabbit
playing
to
the game,
appear.
but like who's
The
played the
first
game a
2
lot
stars
but
came
doesn't know
from
what they're
shifting
doing.
sand,
They know what the
where he
stars
got
are, but
one
they're just
from
trying to go
quickly
as fast
jumping
as
at the top
possible.
of the pyramid, and the other from slowly waiting on top of a pillar for a bird to arrive.
They used the box
The next
to get
2
over the hill.
came
They
from
didn't do a
Lethal
triple
Lava
jump.
Land,
It's crazy.
where Illudude boiled the big bully and collected 8 red coins. His movement wasn't ideal in any of these sections,
Yeah.
as his only real strategy for moving fast was to long jump whenever he could.
I wouldn't expect the movie to be
Finally,
good at all.
the last 3 stars came from collecting the Toad Star, then heading into Hazy Maze Cave, getting the Emergency Exit Star, and the Watch for Rolling Rock Star. Now, Illudude had 15 stars, which spawned Mips the Rabbit. Normally, you can just grab him for a star, but Illudude was going to use him for a trick discovered by Dom Dunk a few months prior.
Dumb.
The first step is getting Mips through this door. By putting him down right in front of it, then going through the door, you can quickly jump back and stand inside the door. From there, you can pick up Mips, turn around, and place him on the other side.
Does anyone else know about this strat? I've never seen this strat before. This is so much easier. This is like way easier than the other MIP strat. Guys, anyone who's learning 16 star and are beginners at this game, you should do this strat. This is so much easier.
Then you want to take Mips to this
So
door,
never mind, maybe.
which you normally need 30 stars to pass through. By placing him in front of it, you can jump between Mips and the door to get pushed through it, skipping the 30 star requirement. The Mips clips could be difficult to perform, but if done properly, they would save many minutes off a Super Mario 64 speedrun. After this, Illudude went into
He did it
Dire
so
Dire
cleanly,
Docks,
though. Like that
collected the
strat. At least the
submarine
second
star
one
to
doesn't
unlock
look that
Bowser
bad.
in the Fire Sea, and went through it as fast as he could. It was time to head upstairs, where he was
it's
about
too
to
loud.
perform probably the most iconic trick in Super Mario 64 speedrunning.
Iconic RNG fail
The
trick.
backwards long jump. This trick was popularized in a November 2000 edition of Nintendo Power magazine, but it's quite likely Nintendo knew about it as early as 1997. Since that year, they released an updated version of Super Mario 64 in Japan that made the trick impossible. When
That-
you do a long
That is the Shindu version. That is the 1.1 or whatever. Yes, that is actually the version that came out for the Nintendo Switch. That's why you can't do BLJ on Nintendo Switch.
by jumping over and over, it's possible to catch Mario in a loop where his speed continuously builds up. He can keep going faster and faster.
It's crazy that this works though. Like
If your
you think
speed builds
BLJs
fast
are
enough.
insane.
Illudude performed this on both the 50-star door and the Endless Staircase, bypassing the requirement
He did the angle. Like I used to do BLJs when I started off, facing the other way like he did. I always thought it was easier for some reason.
Then, it was a matter of making it through Bowser in the sky and hitting Bowser with 3 bombs at the end. It took him 6 throws, but it was enough to finish with a time of 21:56. World record by a significant
I love how it
margin.
sounded like Summoning Salt
This
said
run
it
was
took him
pretty
6
good
throws,
for
like he was
2004,
disgusted by it.
given how
Took him
new the
6
MIPS
throws,
clips
bro.
and BLJs were.
Well, that's amazing
However,
for 2004.
as noted before,
You could tell
and
you
some
could tell that
tricks
this guy
took
practiced a
several
lot though.
tries.
Like he
And
looked
about
like
6 months
he was
later,
just confident
a
with like
player
his
named
movement and
Kirby
shit.
Carter would
It's just
lower
that
it
back
by
then
about
there
a
weren't
minute.
any like strats.
He definitely did clean up the movement a bit, but was still
Wait, what
mostly
time was this?
a minute.
Oh,
He
you said a
definitely
minute.
did clean up the movement a bit, but was still mostly using long jumps. He didn't miss as many throws on Bowser and was able to get the BLJs extremely quickly. However, the biggest revolution introduced in this run was the new, more reliable version of the MIPS clips.
Wow. They were doing this since back then. Can you believe that? I can't believe they were doing these clips since 2000.
For the first one, by dropping
Early
MIPS on the
2000s,
seam
bro.
between the door and the wall, Mario gets pushed forward and becomes stuck inside the door. The rest of the trick can be completed as before. These clips were both faster and more consistent than before, becoming the clear methods to use. So, going into mid-2005, Kirby Carter's 2046 was on top. A solid record, with video proof that, from 2005, wasn't always a given.
True.
The record timeline was pretty straightforward at this point, and had followed a pattern seen by most early speedruns from the mid-2000s. Early runs recorded on VHS with primitive strategies, followed by improvements in big chunks over the following years. However, after this point, the 16-star history takes a bit of a turn.
Oh my god. Dun dun dun.
For the next several years, there would be two major caveats in the timeline. Cheated or faked runs would be illegitimately on top of the leaderboard for more than 80% of the next decade.
Oh my god.
For most games, cheated runs do occasionally happen, but rarely does it affect the record timeline as substantially as it did for 16-star. So, the fastest runs from legitimate players will be included in this video instead. And second, although most runs had video proof when performed, records before 2013 have very little video surviving today, and some of the surviving stuff is very low quality.
Oh Jesus. This is
many
literally
runs
like
were
Liam's
live streamed.
record.
There were also many emulator records at this time, but since they reduce lag and aren't kept on the same leaderboard as console runs, they won't be included in this video.
Yeah, like you can't do that part of FireC with that camera angle. You're gonna get so much lag with this camera angle on N64. You're gonna lose seconds in just this part.
Aren't kept on the same leaderboard as console runs, they won't be included in this video. A player named Le Coureur 103 would rapidly lower the record down to 1908 over the course of 2005.
Le Coureur.
He posted his times on the Speed Demos Archive forum, but videos for these runs seem to have never made it online.
1908.
So, despite lowering the record by a minute and a half, there's not much to analyze. Through August 2009, 4 players
16 stars always been Japan.
Sho, Shigeru, Cass, and Taka.
What's up?
Most of these runs don't have surviving video, and the ones that do were live streamed with 2009 levels of quality. So instead, we'll skip to December 2009, when we finally get a run with a clean video feed from Taka. Remember, Kirby Carter had gotten a 20-minute run in 2005, and there were allegedly 19-minute runs later that year. What did Taka get in 2009? How about a run clocking in at 17 minutes, 18 seconds?
It's actually crazy.
To put it bluntly, this record was on another level.
That was actually crazy. In 2009. 2009 is pretty much, I think that's the year Zaya started playing. Or maybe 2010. But Tora was already playing this game, I believe, in 2009. But Tora had the 120-star world record in 2010. With like a 150
the amount
or something
of
like
tricks, the level of optimization.
You were born that year? Oh my
about
god.
Taka's run was miles ahead of runs from years
Wait,
prior.
You're telling me you're 12 years old?
Truth be told,
Why
there
are you
have been
watching?
many new strategies slowly implemented in runs, and they started literally right when the game begins. By jumping on the very edge of the bridge railing, Taka was able to skip the trigger for the cutscene.
Was
and
this the
save
first
about
Lackady
7
skip
seconds.
instance?
Kirby Carter's run from 2005 was good, but Taka had some tricks up his sleeve that changed everything. Trick number 1. In Bob-omb Battlefield, Taka performed the bomb clip. By activating the bomb and getting pushed by it toward the gate, you can precisely jump before it explodes, getting pushed through the gate to collect the star.
What? That is so sick.
Taka then went to Whomp's Fortress and performed trick number 2, a legendary one known as Cannonless.
No way.
Star.
So people were doing Cannonless and
However,
world records
this can
as
all
early
be
as 2009.
skipped by performing Cannonless, where you just
Maybe
run
even
at
earlier.
the wall in the perfect spot and collect the star without blasting away the wall. It saves around 20 seconds over using the cannon, which is huge.
Dude, his movement is
but
like
the issue
good.
is the precision
His
involved.
movement looks like it's
you need
good
to hit
for
the
even
exact
today.
right spot in the wall
And
for
this
this
is
to work,
2009.
so that Mario grabs the ledge the star is on top of, and his hitbox moves up to
This
intersect with
is
the star.
literally what we used to
Even
do
taking time
in
to
our
set up the trick
speedruns
didn't
back in
help very
2014.
much. The most
Until
skilled players
October
struggled to hit the
2014.
trick more than about 20%
That's how
of
you
the
did
time.
speedruns of this game.
16-star runs were transformed.
You fell off, hope for the best.
You had
If
a
you
couple
missed it,
shots
you
to get
reset.
it, but if you failed, you'd have to reset. So now, most runs wouldn't make it past the 2.5 minute mark. Thankfully, Taka hit cannonless first try, just so he could go and perform trick number 3 immediately after. By triple jumping and wall kicking off the cage perfectly, you could fall in it without having to use the owl. It only saved around 6 seconds, but Owlless became a staple of 16-star runs.
I can't believe this guy was doing this in 2009.
Another big upgrade for Taka,
especially
was
the
his
fact that
movements.
Owlless only saves like 6
Older
seconds.
runs had just
I can't believe he
long
did that.
jumps, but Taka
guy's a
carefully
legend.
selected his move, while long jumps
Wow.
still had their place for
This
longer
movement is so
straight
good
sections.
for 2009. What?
This upgraded
He was doing
movement
that
could
long jump?
particularly be seen in
Look
Bowser
at that.
in the Dark
This
World,
movement is like
where
really
Taka
good for
varied
today.
his movement all over
Look at that
to
movement.
collect 8
Dustless
red
dives.
coins for an
This
additional
guy's a
star.
god. If this
The
guy
back
was still
half
playing
was
this game
clean,
today,
too.
he would be the best in the world.
Fast Mips clips
Easily.
and BLG. However, the run definitely wasn't without its faults. He had some slip-ups, like here in Lethal Lava Land, and he missed a throw on Bowser at the very end. But thanks to the upgrades in movement, strategies,
This
and
guy would
overall
definitely be the best in the
execution,
world if he kept playing.
Taka's run was more than 3 minutes faster than the early records. Over the next year and a half, the record would be broken nearly a dozen times. The two dominant record holders for this era were Taka and Shigeru. They took turns lowering the record into the low 17s, before Shigeru broke the sub-17 barrier with a 16.
For those wondering where the Shigeru cycle came from in Dark World, it's from this guy. This guy was the, I'm guessing he's the one that came up with the cycle, the legendary Shigeru cycle.
1654. But when Taka took the record back with a 1652, he had a trick up his sleeve. LBLJ.
Oh shit.
LBLJ stands for Lobby Backwards Long Jump, and its origins can be traced to an October 2006 video where Mr. Robert Z jumped up from below and grabbed an exposed ledge.
Yeah, fuck
He
Mr.
theorized
Robert
that
Z.
you could then possibly
ruined
do
Mario.
a backwards long jump. This ultimately saves time because many of the 8 stars needed to open the door are slow, like ground pounding Womp 3 times. By ignoring the 8-star requirement, players could now just get the key right away, collect 3 fast stars in Womp's Fortress, and head straight to the basement. It saved half a minute overall. Shigeru would continue to grind 16-star in 2010 and 2011. He would pull away from Taka, lowering the record deeper into the 16s, while optimizing.
Damn, dude. So it's because of Shigeru why LBLJ is so like prominent now in RTA. So fuck Shigeru basically.
It was starting to feel inevitable that somebody would break the 16-minute barrier. But as it turns out, the first person to get a sub-16 wouldn't be Shigeru. It wouldn't be Taka either. In fact, it
Akira?
wasn't anyone who had set a 16-star record before.
Was it Akira?
In August 2011,
I think it was Akira.
someone else broke through with a 1554. And his name was Matt Turk.
What? Who the fuck is Matt Turk? Some random white American kid?
Nah, I'm just kidding. It was Akira. Akira's run was a
Oh, that is so funny. Oh, no way. He totally G-baited me, bro.
It started with LBLJ. He got it very cleanly, quickly rotating the camera to drop Mario in Bowser in the Dark World. After collecting 8 red coins in the key, he got Cannonless first try, Owlless, and the side flip star, making all 3 of these stars seem effortless.
That is so funny.
In Lethal Lava Land, he boiled the big bully, got a couple stars in the volcano, got the log rolling star via a precise triple jump wall kick, and got 8 red coins. These 5 stars were all relatively quick, the longest
It's
one
funny because
taking only
2011
about
really
20
was the year
seconds.
when Mario speedrunning
He
started
then went into
taking off
Shifting
as well.
Sandland, got the
That was the
star in
year.
the top of the pyramid.
That was the year Siglemmic
then
and stuff
bounced
was
off a
really
snippet
like starting
get
to
the
push
bird
up and
star
stuff too.
early. In Hazy Maze Cave, he triple jumped to get into the dinosaur room quickly. The Mips clips were about perfect, and in Dire Dire Docks, Akira went for the risky front sub to save a couple seconds. He tore through Bowser in the Fire Sea, barely making a fast cycle. Both the backwards long jumps were instantaneous, and he nailed every Bowser throw to wrap up a sub 16-minute run.
You
There
would
simply
think.
wasn't
We
enough
really
time
thought it
to save
was.
to take
Like
it
we never
past
thought
15
14 was
minutes.
possible, bro.
That being said, there was still some room to take it lower into the 15s. About 6 months later, Batora would grab the record for the first time with a 15:52, losing a bit of time to bad movement early but saving time at the end with a cleaner Bowser in the sky. Not to be outdone, Akira would beat him by a full 8 seconds in April 2013, thanks to a fast LBLJ at the start and tearing through the other BLJs. This 1544
Japanese players
would
have
then
always been
stand
so
on
good
top
with the
of the
BLJs, dude.
leaderboard
I don't
for the
get it.
next 2 years.
Crazy.
It was a pretty big blow when 2/3 of your runs would die to the same trick right at
It
the
was
start.
so awful.
There wasn't a way around it. You either got cannonless, or you reset. For years, cannonless had been ending record runs before they could really begin.
Yep.
And it helped lead to stretches like this, where no world records were set for many months. If someone could just figure out a way to set it up consistently,
If
to
only.
grab the star every time, it would open up so many new doors in 16 star. And in October 2014, that's exactly what Sockfolder did. Sockfolder is a speedrunning legend. He's found revolutionary setups for tricks in Ocarina of Time, Luigi's Mansion, even the original Super Mario Bros. On October 8th, 2014, he came out with this complicated setup. You would grab the ledge, pull yourself up, punch twice,
I don't think so,
reset the
Couch.
camera,
Not for now.
walk straight down,
There will be.
adjust the camera,
Yeah, this
pull
was like
yourself
the OG setup.
backflip, punch, walk straight down again, reset the camera again, then pull yourself up and walk down. The obvious problem with this was how slow it was.
Yeah.
Even if done quickly, the setup cost 10 seconds over normal cannonless. That's a significant amount of time in a run like 16 star. Later the same day, runners DefTech and Gothic Logic would find an improvement.
Oh, I love
You
this.
you could
I
skip
love that
straight
they're
to jumping on the
actually-
ledge next to
He
the
actually
plank,
named the
then
people.
perform the setup from there.
That is so nice.
This meant you'd only lose 6 seconds instead of 10.
I would never forget the day that they found this trick, that Sockfolder found that cannonless and announced it. I actually just got back home from Disney World. We spent Christmas in Orlando and Disney World. The day I got back home was the day they found the cannonless. I entered into Tiny Chat, which was like the Discord of 2014. Everybody used to practice in Tiny Chat. There was like 30 runners all practicing the new cannonless. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Everyone was like, geez, look at this. I saw the Sockfolder one with the bunch of setups, and then I actually saw Gothic Logic specifically doing like a faster version, and they were trying to figure out how to do the faster version. So it's really cool that Summoning Soul actually named like DefTech and Gothic, because it's true, because they were actually the ones that were like trying to figure out a faster one.
And the whole process still lined you up perfectly to grab the ledge and collect the star. So, throughout 2015, a handful of runners were gunning for the record. And what resulted was a mad dash to push the record down as much as possible.
It's true. So much motivation. That's why 2015 was the best year of Mario 64, in my opinion. The best and the most improving year of Mario 64. So was that Zaya's first world record in 16? It can't be. Or was it? Well, Pilatus already existed then, but Pilatus has been improved a shit ton since 2014, that's for sure. The 2014 version of SSL Pilatus is so much slower. It's like 5 seconds slower or some shit than the current Pilatus. But yeah, 2015 I think is the best year of Mario 64 history. So many 16-star world records and hype. 120-star world records. It was my first world record year too. So many things happened. I'm not sure. I can't remember if a lot of things happened for 70, but it was a good year. 1524. This was the world
By
record
May
that stood like
2016,
a long time.
Zaya had taken the record all the way to 1524. A run with a really fast LBLJ, nearly every trick hit throughout the stages, and fast BLJs to boot. The only real noticeable slowdowns were a slow start to Pillarless and getting bad boulder luck in Hazy
I
Maze
remember
Cave.
watching this run
A
and actually
very
remembering
impressive
that one of the
record
only
given how many
mistakes was
tricks were now in
Pillarless.
the run. And incredibly, this
It's
record
funny because like
too
it was
would
such a good
stand
run
for
back then, and
nearly
it
2 years.
30 seconds almost slower than
But
what record now.
eventually, a couple of new runners began to
Don't
get
even know how.
really low times. In November 2017, Aki got on a run that had potential. A great LBLJ, pillarless, cannonless. After getting the second key, he was on pace for a 1525.
You mean my
but
chat?
could potentially get as low as 1518 if he matched his best last split ever. A record by 6 seconds. It was all going to come down to the BLJs.
Ouiji's the best Mario player of all time, right now. Right now, Ouiji's the best player in Mario. Dowski's fantastic.
They were
but
decent,
I think Ouiji's
but
the best
not
player.
good enough for a record.
Dude, he smashes those buttons.
This time, it was good enough. But
He was so young then. This is what, 2017? Aki was like 14, I think he was. I think he was like 14.
But a few days later, it was Ouiji's turn.
2 days later? Really? Whoa, what was that reaction? I've never seen this.
I did it! I did it!
Wow. I've never seen this reaction. No way. Dude, this is like almost the same reaction I had in my first world record.
In 16-star history. One new trick he and Aki were using was in Womp's Fortress, where he used a new setup for cannonless called Texture Setup that had been theorized years prior by Snowman.
Hate that setup.
Instead of using Sockfolder's long setup, Ouija just lined up Mario's feet with a texture in the side of the plank and went for it. It wasn't as consistent as the normal setup, but it was faster, and still more consistent than no setup at all. He gained some time over Aki with a cleaner Lethal Lava Land, but lost some in Bowser in the Fire Sea. His BLJs were excellent, but he had a slight mistake at the end of Bowser in the Sky. Although the run had some downfalls, it was still a record by 5 seconds. Not to be outdone, Aki would fire back 6 months later with a 1516,
I'm starting
and
to
his
remember
Fire
these
Sea had a
runs.
slow ending.
I love how Summoning
this
Salt
point,
really gets
when the record
into
was
like
lowered,
each run and
it was
explains
typically only by
how
a
it's
second
better,
or
where it was
maybe
better.
a few seconds at most.
Summoning
When
Salt.
records get as
Hi,
precise
babe.
as 16-star, where
Welcome.
players have done tens of thousands of runs each, taking time off in big chunks was pretty much out of the question. But incredibly,
You're so
just
good. You're a
3
legend.
weeks after his 1516, Aki was in position to do just that.
I think I remember this run.
This was it. An unbelievable chance to make history. He just had to make it through Bowser in the Sky, hit all 3 of the throws,
It's so good. So.
and he'd be golden.
おいマジかよこれマジで俺やったぞやったーこれやべえうわおいこれやべえぞ
Idiotic, thanks for the gift sub to Summoning Salt. Yatta!
A 1508
beautiful.
was the largest cut off the record in more than 3.5 years. A near perfect run from start to finish. 6 months later, it was still in first.
That was key.
Second place was 8 seconds behind. To have a realistic chance at beating this, you'd need new strats. The old ones had just about completely been optimized. As good as Aki was, it would help to change his approach if he wanted to take the record under 1508. So, as 2019 came around, he looked into what else he could do to save time. First, there was Cannonless. Texture setup was great, but it lost a few seconds over just running at the wall and praying. So, Aki decided that he needed to give up the consistency of the setup and go back to normal Cannonless.
I wish he didn't do that.
This was obviously a really tough move, but the run was getting so optimized that it was worth it. Second, Aki went for a faster setup for Pillarless. Developed by Tama, you would do the jump dive on the hill instead of going over the top. This enabled you to get
Such a good
hands-free
strat.
quicker,
The fact
and
that
allow
this
the
is
trick
found
to
and it's
begin sooner than
consistent and it's
before.
so hard to.
With these setups in mind, Aki
Tama,
kept
like,
doing attempts.
Really godlike
On May
moment from
10th,
Tama there.
the new time
I
saves
remember
helped him be 6
I
seconds ahead
dude,
of
I
the record
literally
early.
cried. I literally
bleed
cried
some of
over
this
that
time in
strat.
Fire
I
Sea,
hated learning Tama.
But good
And I
BLJs
hated
kept
myself
him well
for the fact that I
ahead.
couldn't do it.
3
And now
Bowser
it's like-
throws later,
it's just so
Aki
simple.
had
It's not
done
simple,
it
but like
again.
ごめんちょっと
I do it without a problem.
よっしゃ次強いってやるからな
Or
This record put Aki 12 seconds ahead of anyone else on the leaderboard. And he didn't stop there. He kept doing attempts for a lower record. He even had paces multiple seconds ahead of the 15:04. But every time, something would kill it. Aki would finally get some competition at the top of the leaderboard. He was both the 0-star and 1-star record holder. Dowski had previously held the 16-star record before, getting a 15:16 the day before Aki got his incredible 15:08.
Dowski's a god.
Even though his personal best was a few seconds behind Aki, he knew he had the skill to keep up with him. So, Dowski's record attempts began.
Best possible
and on
time,
November
14:43.
he got on a run that fell behind early thanks to missing Canalys on
Some
the
best
first
is
try.
14:43.
However, he more than made up
somebody-
that time
Isn't
with a
Slippery
faster
Nip
fire
some of
seat,
best like 14:42
including a
or
different
some shit?
strategy at
Only
the
like a
end where
second
he
faster,
avoided jumping
and this
on
was
the
2
edge
years
of the
ago.
stage. He had a 4-second lead over the record. This actually had sub-15 potential. But as always, the BLJs stood in the way.
Not the best BLJs.
They weren't great, but his best possible time was still 1 second ahead of the record.
Shit.
If he could tear through the stage, he'd have a chance.
Single star splits. Oh, that's true, yeah. Imagine entering Sky within a second of a record, man. Like, I mean, I say that, but I've probably done that quite a few times. Yeah, he got it.
As it turns out, it would be record by just over a 1/10 of a second.
My god.
For the first time in a year, Aki was no longer the record holder. With so many times being set in short succession, 16-star as a category was flourishing. At this point, it had been almost 2 years since someone with a funny username had set a record. In recent months, there had been Aki and Dowski, but to get a good one, you have to go back to Ouija
Did I
and
rap?
his
That's true.
15-17. And even that one's not amazing compared to the likes of 420 Blaze It and Shivering Erotic King Banana. He started moving up on the leaderboards, going from 5th to 3rd place right behind the two 15:04s. And shortly thereafter, he would end up taking the top spot. And the runner's name certainly didn't disappoint. On February 27th, a 15:03 was achieved by Slippery Nip. Thanks to a
Slippery
setup
nipples.
by Salt and Ginger to adjust the camera and clip in the wall more consistently. He maintained this 4-second lead until the second MIPS clip, which took him 2 tries.
Slippery Nip had a 15:05 back in February of last year. So long ago?
The community was beginning to approach a barrier.
Wait a minute. Slippery Nip had a world record before? Why do I feel like I have no idea that that was a thing? He had a world record before? Wait, I think I'm starting to remember. Yeah.
They
I don't
were
know why,
now
but I just don't remember.
4 seconds away from a sub-15-minute run. The last time a minute barrier had been broken was almost 9
This was-
years prior.
No, this
with
wasn't.
Akira's
I wasn't playing Warzone yet.
15:54. Now, a run in the 14s was seeming inevitable. But what time saves were left? Well, looking at the 15:03 record, the big potential time saves were the 4 seconds lost due to the MIPS clip, and a few seconds that could be saved on the BLJs. But beyond that, there were still fractions of a second to squeeze out all over. On
Yeah, the world record at this
LBLJ,
point is like you
Lethal
have to
Lava
do all
Land,
the stars
Bowser in the
perfectly and
Sky,
then just lose your time
all
on
from
the
subtle,
flip and
faster
BLJ.
strategies or improving
But it's funny because the
movements.
current 60-star world record
Those
has a
time
huge
saves
mistake
all
in
added up
HMC.
to a run well under 15
But it's all the like
minutes.
orangey things that
But
were actually
someone
like,
still
amazing.
had to take it there.
Excuse me.
And one player who would make a big push was Aki. Aki would get a very promising run going on May 1st, 2020. It was about even going into the MIPS clips. Still, a strong Fire C and BLJs kept him just ahead going into Bowser in the Sky. And there, he was able to make a faster elevator cycle called Monamo Cycle by making his movement as tight as possible, including an incredible triple jump dive onto
Oh my
the
god.
platform.
That's actually insane.
3 throws
He
later,
did a speed kick there, it
Aki
looks like.
was so close to a sub 15. Aki pushed onward over the coming days and weeks, getting great runs on pace that eventually died to something. He just needed one good run past the BLJs.
Just one.
And on May 10th, 2020, Aki had this run. It was about as close to a perfect run as you could get. Chances like this
10:06
don't
HMC.
come along very often.
Apparently not even a
Now,
good HMC time now.
More than ever, the BLJs needed to happen. They didn't need to be very good, he just needed something decent.
Okay. Perfect. Jesus fucking Christ.
Or he could get near perfect BLJs. This was his chance for the run of a lifetime.
That really was a chance
we
for
go.
one of a lifetime. What happened to this guy? He didn't make the monocycle. But that's only like... Oh. That's what happened. People leave. Oh my god, what a talk. Look at Comatose. What a bitch. No monocycle, people leave. Oh my god. Talk about pace, pal. Just probably thinking, is it good enough? I don't know. I can literally hear him doing this and opening his arms and becoming fucking Goku. Is it Goku? I don't watch Dragon Ball Z.
By the skin of his teeth, Aki had pulled out a 14:59. Obviously, as good as it was, this run still had some room for improvement. For the next several months, there was little action at the top of the leaderboard. The top three
Yeah, 'cause
stayed
people
in
were
the
like,
same
"Fuck
spots,
that."
and 2021 came around with just Aki in the elusive sub-15 club. See this guy down here? This is Kano,
Yeah.
and he was 6th place in the world with a 15:17. He was considered an elite runner of the game, but generally not considered a world record contender. 18 seconds was a lot of difference for a short category like 16 star, and there were several people between him and the top spot. Well, in February 2021,
I love his streams.
Kano started up a stream on Twitch, and he decided that he wasn't going to end this stream until he set a 16-star world record. He wasn't going to be playing all the time. He'd still live his life and sleep on a normal schedule, but his stream would stay
Finn,
live
thanks for the resub,
the
babe.
entire time. He knew
Chaos
he'd have to
will
do
won.
some work given how far he was from the record, but Kano didn't care. He wanted to be the record holder. So, he got to work. Life went on, and Kano kept streaming 16-star. By March, his time was down to 15:13. By April, it was 15:07. His stream kept going. He was improving his skills and getting close to a record level. By May, he was starting to get really close, entering the top 3 with a 15:03. All the while, the length of the stream climbed higher and higher,
Crazy.
going past 1,000 and then past 2,000 hours. Until finally, on June 12th, 2021, Kano had this run. He actually gained some time early thanks to a new strategy in shifting Sandland by CircleMark994, but
I don't know
lost
why
a bit
he
on MIPS from
switched
slower
to
setups
this
for the
camera
clips.
setup.
He bled a bit
Like, why
more
does
in
he have the
Fire
camera on
Seed
the
from an
TV?
accidental ground pound, and his BLJs weren't as clean as Aki's, but he knew the time he could save in Bowser in the Sky. After a
The
clean
HMC time was
stage,
almost the same, 10:06.
3 throws separated him from a record.
You didn't know.
What? Yes!
Just over 3,000 hours.
More than 3,000 hours of streaming finally put behind him. Kano went from 6th to 1st. As the summer of 2021 went on, a few people were going for a sub 1458. One of the most notable players was Ouija.
The god of all
He had
gods.
set a record 3 years prior with a 15:17. Still, he was considered a top runner. For years, he would continue lowering his personal best, staying within seconds of the record at all times. However, he never was able to take that top spot again, despite coming close on several occasions. At least until July 4th, 2021.
Oh shit.
After 39 months,
Right.
thousands of attempts,
Oh,
and
no.
numerous personal bests in the top 5,
Oh no.
Luigi had finally done it again. He had beaten all the rest, and had taken back the world record.
I didn't get it.
Dude, just free time.
No, I didn't get it.
No, oh my god! Luigi, you fool!
When Luigi stopped to scroll through the text boxes, Mario was facing away from the star. All he had to do was turn around and jump into the star, but he accidentally jumped forward and lost about a second. It cost him the record. To this day, he's still trying to get it back. But that's not the last run to talk about,
Angola, thanks for the sub, babe.
because in August
I
2021,
can't believe that.
a runner would come back to
That's what you
snag
call
one
shade.
final record.
The shade of it all. Wow. Alright, is this the god himself? Slippery dick. Oh shit! This strat. I can't believe people do this fucking strat, dude. Shitty HMC time, but godlike ending. That BLJ it looks like TAS. Ridiculous.
So, who was the runner? Well, it wasn't Luigi, it wasn't Aki, Dowski, or Kano. There's only one username it could have been.
Please say Matt Turk. Oh, if you said Matt Turk again, that actually would have been fucking hilarious.
Wow. Alright, cool.
Best reaction to
Sweet.
a world record. Amazing, amazing. What a good ending too. Nice and simple.